Welcome everybody to another Elden Ring video, talking to you all about different things that I like and dislike. I have about 20 different things that I got, as well with the help of a lot of you guys who I asked on Twitter. So I wanted to talk about these, I guess 20, I had 10 originally by the way, and then I ended up writing down 20, things that I like and dislike about the Elden Ring network test. Really no particular order, but these two first ones I would say are my favorites. Number one, the Bloody Finger invasion items. Miyazaki, thank you for giving us a really good frickin' invasion item. So if you guys don't know what these are, whenever you invade, you get 10 of these special little fingers. Whenever you're in the game, you can actually use these to teleport near the host if you're having a hard time finding him, or it gives you a bad spawn point so you don't have to run a crazy distance. But the way we discovered that it was good to be used was whenever you're getting ganked, which is basically all the time if you're invading, as now you can only invade 2 or 3 people at a time, no more solo hosts who can go complain. If you're by yourself, the only way to get invaded is if you use a specific item that says basically open yourself up to invasions. So if you're afraid of that when the full game comes out, then you're pretty much set. But this item is really good for whenever you're getting punished and you're getting very close to death. If you get yourself some space, you know, if they give you that space and you're able to use one of these fingers, it basically ninja teleports you away to a different spawn point. I've definitely had a couple situations where it gives me a really bad spawn point and I basically spawn in front of them and just die instantly. But if you get one of those good spawn points, then you're basically able to teleport away and get yourself a little heal, you know, recoup, maybe let them go forward a little bit if you want to do a little bit of stealth action to kind of give yourself a little bit of a strategy against a 1v3 gank who's just shooting spells and doing jump and right trigger attacks. I fucking love it. And another item that I really like is this Physick Flask. I believe it's called the Physick Flask, where you can mix 2 different things together. So right off the bat, the first things it gives you is something that refills your stamina and makes you explode. And it does damage to you, and I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, who the hell would ever use that? I guess it's basically only there to teach you what not to mix together. Oh, and then I discovered how good it is in PvP. It is so fucking awesome in invasions, especially when you have a lot of health, because it basically, if you have the specific item that makes it so that you heal your health and the explosion, it heals half of your total health, and then it does like 300 damage to you, so you still get a tiny bit of HP, but you have this massive explosion that does like 250 damage to enemies. So one of the things that I was doing a lot was, it was coming such clutch because, I mean, there's no weapons that do 200 damage per hit. So you would have these gankers attacking you, you'd see that a guy had a little bit of HP, so what you do is take a little drink, they're still pressuring you, attacking you, and then you just explode and freaking kill them. It was such like a good item that was also like very much used to troll people in a beautiful way, and honestly I kind of underestimated how freaking cool that is. So that's definitely one of my favorite things from the network test, and I guess the full game in general. The jumping attacks. This one could be put more into the like and dislike category because I really like them and the way they work to help break postures of enemies, which of course posture makes a return in Elden Ring. Even though you can't see it, you're definitely doing way more posture damage for charge right trigger attacks and jumping right trigger attacks than you would if you just spammed R1. But I also dislike it because whenever you're getting ganked, it's so easy to do. Like, you run into so many hosts and their phantoms where there's one guy in the back just shooting spells, faith non-stop, and then there's a guy in the front literally just doing jumping attacks, jumping right trigger, chasing you. And there's really not a way to punish it because, you know, you can't parry it, can't backstab it. A lot of poise means that you're going to get one hit and then they're going to poise through it and fuck you up. That's why I would put that in sort of the like and dislike of some of the things from Elden Ring network test. One thing that I really didn't like, and I didn't really see it personally myself, but I heard a lot of reports on it and obviously didn't do it myself, but a lot of the glitches that kind of exist, especially in like Dark Souls 3 with stuff like the Estus canceling, seems to have made a return in the Elden Ring network test. Now, I really hope that these just kind of get phased out. You're always going to see people doing them, and I always really hate them. I really dislike them in Dark Souls 3. I don't know how to do it, and I specifically haven't learned how to do it. I don't want to have that, you know, glitch in my back pocket to just kind of pull. I'd rather honestly just take the damage and like move on to the next invasion. I don't really care enough to try hard so much. And I don't know how it would possibly really get patched in Elden Ring. I guess the only thing we could really do is ourselves personally just decide not to use it. That's really all we can do. I can tell you that I definitely will not be doing stuff like the Estus canceling. And hopefully there's not a lot of the same, you know, bow glitches and stuff like that. I hope the bow glitch doesn't make a return. Please don't make a return bow glitch. But I think for that is more patchable than Estus canceling. Horseback riding and the combat from Torrent's back was excellent. I really had a good time riding around on Torrent. He's the best boy. I think that is still a little bit wonky because in general, we've never ridden a horse in any of these type of games, so it's still going to get some getting used to. But for the most part, it seemed like pretty intuitive and it seemed pretty in-depth. You know, you had the right bumper, you hit on the right side. You have left bumper, you hit on the left side. You could do charge left trigger attacks, which does this big, like, undercut attack that does take like 3 seconds to charge up and is a little bit hard to hit. But if you do hit it, it's a giant attack and it does a ton of damage and sends them flying into the air. So there is actually some depth to the horseback combat. And honestly, it's just fun as hell to ride around on Torrent, and he's really cute. So there's that. Speaking of cute, the creatures around the world is another thing that I really like. It gave the world a little bit of personality, and same goes for some of these creatures having their own little personalities. For example, the goat that whenever you get close to him or try to attack him, he just fucking rolls like a wheel for like 30 feet. He goes so far just rolling on his own. And it's not even that fast. It's almost like a defense mechanism, not for like other enemies. It's for you. You see him and you're like, I can't kill him. He's so goddamn cute. I did kill them. Like, I mean, easily, like without even thinking in my conscience or having, you know, I haven't thought anything negative of it. Easily killed them. But still, there's a few that I looked at and I was like, I don't want to kill that one. So instead of killing all of them, just being goats hanging around, there were a few that lived because they had a low cute personality. Same goes for the turtles. If you give them a good smack, which I never did, I would never hurt one of those turtles. They're all under my protection. But I saw somebody hit the turtle and then he sunk back into a shell like a real tortoise. So it makes it feel alive. You know, there's a bunch of like little squirrels running around that kind of poke their head out and see you from the grass and run away. It makes the world feel more alive. And I really freaking like that. I can't wait to see what more stuff will be in the full game, because what they've put into the network test was pretty awesome to just see and experience and be around. Another thing that I really didn't like about the network test, and I guess this one is more specifically to the network test, definitely it's going to change for the full game, but there was not a lot of strength weapons to test out. I would say that strength builds are my favorite, and other than like the bastard sword, there were no real strength weapons to kind of play around with and mess around with. Even though, like I said earlier, like a strength build would probably be the best because strength is directly connected to your equip weight. So the stronger you want to get to use that big great club, the heavier armor and the bigger weapons you're going to be able to wield. So they kind of go hand in hand, which is kind of beautiful. So I can't wait to see what type of strength builds get made when the full game is actually released. Another thing that is one of my favorites, freaking power stancing makes a return from Dark Souls 2. And I really like the way it works in the network test. I like that you basically just have to put the other weapon on your hand and then you automatically have your different movesets. Whenever you use a left bumper attack or the right trigger attack, you have different movesets. One of the only things that I don't like is that you can't do different weapons together. It's only the same, like straight sword, great sword, great sword. They only match with each other. You can't do like mismatch stuff like Dark Souls 2. At least for now in the network test, I don't know how it's going to be in the future when the full game is released. This is what we have now. But I think that some of those weapons were freaking amazing. I can't wait to try out like Power Stance Twin Blades, which I didn't get a chance to do because I didn't really want to bother anybody to drop me all the weapons. So I just decided to, scimitars, dual scimitars. The warrior character started with dual scimitars and it was freaking awesome. Very, very fun, very enjoyable. And some of the movesets that get changed up, like the running left bumper attack, for the dual scimitars, the power stand scimitars, were really, really good. So it's going to be awesome to see the full combinations that we get to see in the full game. So another thing I really like, the new system that we have for gaining heals back whenever you attack groups of enemies, I think is really well done. It very much encourages you to kind of, whenever you're running around, go and attack a group of enemies instead of just running around, you know, just riding your horse non-stop, not getting into any action. If you're out of heals, you're going to see like a group of giants and be like, maybe I should just go try to take them on and get these 3 heals back. It kind of puts that in your head, you know, instead of just being like, I'm going to go straight without ever looking to the sides and not moving. It reminds me a lot of Bloodborne with the whole rally system. You know, you risk something to gain something back. And it's a really cool system. I like it a lot. So for another dislike that I have was the fact that it didn't seem like there was a timer for the amount of summons that a host could continuously keep summoning into his world. It didn't really seem like there was a timer in between each summon. Like, I got into a couple of invasions where the dude was just summoning non-stop. I would kill them, he would summon another one, he would get blues. We need some time, man, because this game, particularly more than like Dark Souls 3, is extremely hard to gank spank people because, you know, some of the things that I mentioned earlier, poise being really good. Most hosts and their phantoms are going to have really high poise armor. No combos, so you can't do like a true combo to do a bunch of damage. No punishing jumping attacks, no parries for those jumping attacks, very hard to backstab. It's really hard, so I hope to see some type of timer added to that. That'd be pretty freaking awesome. I also didn't like that the network test was not available to PC, but on the other hand, I could see why they did that. Sadly, PC lot, me included, because I mean, I'm probably going to be playing this game mainly on PC. A couple bad apples usually ruin the batch, and yes, you guys know that if the network test was available on PC within the first hour, somebody would have flown out of bounds and flown to where the final boss is and been like, look in the file, here's the final boss, it's Solaire. You know, spoil something really freaking awesome. Even though people were able to get out of bounds in the network test, I didn't see anything, I didn't do it myself, I don't want to see, I don't know what's out there, I don't want to know until the full game comes out. But yeah, that would have easily happened, and it sucks that it's like that, but it's understandable why they didn't have a PC network test. And I think you guys know. The magic in this network test was freaking awesome. I think it's the best magic we've ever had in any of the Soulsborne Ekido Ring games, and yes, that is a full name now. Official trademark by Miyazaki himself. Well, not every spell was incredible, and some spells were incredibly overpowered. I think that just the visuals of them, the way they sound, the way they look, the damage they do, it's my favorite, in my opinion. It's the coolest, and I think it's only going to get better when the full game comes out. But yeah, like I said, overpowered a little bit. You know, the Beast Claw, that freaking miracle. They need to do something about that, man. Those focus points, doubled up those focus points. It's just way too strong in the network test, or was way too strong, I should say, because it's over. Okay, compose yourself. But yeah, it needs a little bit of work. One thing that I really like from the network test is that they gave you the option right away to fast travel, because you have Torrent, your spectral steed, and it basically gives you the option. Do you want to ride Torrent around? You can. Everything is kind of connected into itself. Do you just want to fast travel around to the sites of grace? You can also do that. I really like that they gave you that option right off the bat. I still don't really know what I want to do with the full game. I don't know if I want to just ride Torrent or if I want to, you know, be fast traveling everywhere. I guess I'll probably decide on the spot whenever I do it. But yeah, I really like that they gave you that option in the network test right off the bat. And speaking of exploring and like riding on the back of the horse, I love how there was so much to actually explore. There were so many different areas, so many hidden areas, so many bosses, what, 12 bosses or something like that? Even though not all of them are like crazy bosses, you know, there's like 3 major bosses. But this is also like 1/8 of the game. If you guys have seen that screenshot of the full map, what we play in the network test is like a tiny portion of that map, and that map is probably not even the full entire map, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I fucking love how much there actually was to explore. Considering we got like a full 15 hours with it, and people were like, there's just no way this 15 hours is anywhere near enough, especially when we had it in like 3-hour chunks. Which it just leaves everybody wanting more, you know, salivating for more to come in 3 months. Another thing that I really didn't like about the network test is that there wasn't a lot of useful things for crafting. Like you were making arrows and throwing knives, but I personally wasn't using arrows, like they're not that good. Throwing knives as well weren't really useful in Invasions, the same way they are in like Dark Souls 3. But I'm assuming that will get better when the full game comes out. We get more cookbooks, more crafting books, and we'll be able to make better stuff. For example, you know, I don't know, some upgrade materials? Possibly. That'd be pretty fucking awesome. Another one of my favorite things that I'm really freaking excited about, and hopefully there's more of them, are basically the return of boss invasions. Like, essentially a lot of these areas that we invaded in were boss invasions. In the swamp where they're fighting Agheel, that is a boss invasion. Where they're fighting the Tree Sentinel, that's another boss invasion, where you basically have the help of this giant freaking boss, really intimidating enemy that really fucks up the hosts, and the Phantom is in him and is massive freaking help, but also a little bit of a detriment, especially with Agheel. That fire hits you really hard and two-shots you. So while it is a positive that you have this really strong enemy like a gigantic dragon on your side, he can also fuck you up. So it's a positive and a negative, but I take it way more as a positive because it is freaking awesome to just parry somebody to death in front of a massive flame-breathing dragon. There's just something epic about it. Another thing that I didn't really like about the network test is that there was no character creation in it. I would have loved to see a little something, you know, give us a little tease, give us the ability to add some hair, some facial hair, you know. You don't have to make it super in-depth, but, you know, we could make it sort of like Neo. They had, I think it was Neo 2? They had character customization, but it wasn't like the complete one that we had in the full game. We could have gotten a little something, but on the other hand, it was also kind of a good thing because it didn't allow me to waste like 1 or 2 hours just fucking around with my character and making dumbass looking characters. And I was able to just jump right into the game, so that's kind of nice as well. Another thing that I didn't really like was the simplistic look of the health bar, which I'm sure is something that a lot of people have complained about. I think they will fix it in the main game, or at least make it a little bit better looking in the main game. Especially when you see how detailed some of the other things are, like the dial for the fast travel. Or excuse me, not the fast travel, the dial for changing the time of day. Which is essentially, you know, you're fast traveling through time. I'm still right, alright? Like, that little dial is incredibly detailed, so I'm assuming they'll probably do a little something with the actual health bar and stamina and focus point bar. But that'll probably be when the full game comes out. Obviously, network test, they really just wanted to test out the connectivity between co-op and invasions and stuff, so I'm not too worried about that one. And then for the final thing that I freaking loved about the network test was the day and night cycle, and the dynamic weather of the game I think was freaking beautiful. The entire night to day cycle I believe is 1 whole hour, and it looks amazing. You could literally see the sunset going down and the clouds coming in, and there's so many different dynamic weathers. It's pretty awesome chasing some dude in an invasion and then it randomly starts raining. Like, it's so freaking epic, and I think the thing I'm most excited about is PvE related. Whenever you made it nighttime in the network test, it put in an enemy that is only there in the night. So I'm assuming you're gonna get a lot of that when the full game comes out. I can't wait to explore everything in different times of day and see what type of secrets the world is holding, because I'm sure that, knowing From Software, there will probably be freaking hundreds. And I absolutely can't wait for the full game. We only have to wait 3 more months until the full release of Elden Ring. Well, like 3.5 months or something like that. But we waited for the network test for this long. We waited for a snippet of the game for 2 years. We can wait 3.5 more months. But yeah, that was 20 things, or at least about 20 things that I really like about the network test and that I dislike about the network test. You know, having some of that negative stuff in there. Not necessarily negative, I guess. More like criticisms and things I hope they change for the full release of the game, which I'm sure they will for some stuff like the HUD and the health bar and stuff. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. And if you could do me a solid, and leave a like on the video. It really helps me out, helps out the video and the channel. Thank you so much if you do that, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.